Good day, grade 9 students. We are now on the fifth week of our online discussion in Mathematics 9. I would like to congratulate each of you for surviving the first month of this school year. I am expecting and hoping that you are going to maintain this good performance of yours, and for those who are struggling to cope up with the current situation, I know you can do it. For this week, we're going to discuss lesson 5, which is about quadratic inequalities. Here are the learning competencies you need to achieve or master at the end of this week. Letter A, illustrate quadratic inequalities. Letter B, solve quadratic inequalities. And lastly, C, solve problems involving quadratic inequalities. Please grab your book for first quarter and open it on page 184. What is a quadratic inequality? A quadratic inequality is an inequality that contains a polynomial of degree 2 and can be written in any of the following forms. Ax squared plus bx plus c is greater than 0. Ax squared plus bx plus c is greater than or equal to 0. Ax squared plus bx plus c is lesser than 0. Ax squared plus bx plus c is lesser than or equal to 0. Where a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. So the difference between a quadratic equation class, because there is only uh, one form to, yung pag quadratic equation kasi, yung present lang doon is equality. Pag sinabi equality, equal sign yung ginagamit between the right and left part of the equation. Kaya nga tinawag siya na equation. Dito naman class, yung inequality, meron siyang four different forms. So yung greater than form, the greater than or equal, lesser than, and lesser than or equal. So this four here class, yung four quadratic inequality nandito, these are the four different forms. And just the same sa quadratic equation, a, b, and c are real numbers. And the same rin sa quadratic equation, yung degree niya is 2. Dahil nga sa word na quadratic, understood na natin na yung highest exponent that exists dapat na nasa equation is 2 or nasa second degree form siya. And yung A class sa quadratic inequality, same lang na kay quadratic equation, yung A hindi dapat maging equal kay 0 kasi again class, pag yung A naging equal to 0, mawawala yung quadratic term. So magiging linear equation na lang siya. Quadratic inequality. So here are the suggested steps in solving quadratic inequality. So you can screenshot this part of the video or you can just check in your book kasi andyan naman siya. So number 1, write the corresponding quadratic equation of the given quadratic inequality. So yung kailangan daw natin gawin sa step 1, yung given na quadratic inequality sa problem, i-change natin or gagawin natin quadratic equation. So later on sa examples, makita nyo kung paano yung pag-change. Step 2, factor the polynomial. Step 3, determine the values of the variable in the equation. Step 4, divide the number line into 3 regions. Step 5, construct a test point table and select a set of values from the 3 regions. It means class, yung number line natin, di ba meron tayong equation. Sa equation, makakakuha kayo ng dalawang roots of the equation. Yung two roots of the equation, i-identify natin sila or ipa-plot natin sila dun sa number line. Wherein yung number line, yung 2 points na nakuha natin will be considered as the border line. Then yung number line, mahati siya into 3 regions. Yan ang tatawag natin region A, B, and C. Also, yung i-advance ko na pagsabi, yung paghati ng region class, yung A mag-i-start lagi sa left side. Si B sa gitna, si C sa right side. Graph the inequality, and number 7, give the solution set of the inequality, and finally, step 8, check the answer. So let's try some examples. For example, number 1 class, we are going to solve x squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. So let's copy the given, and here's the first step. Write as a quadratic equation. So we're going to change the quadratic inequality into a quadratic equation. So paano yun gagawin? Simple lang. Yung inequality sign, papalitan nyo lang ng equal sign. So magiging x squared minus 3x minus 18 is equal to 0. Then after that one, we are going to factor and solve. So yung, kung napansin nyo, dahil naging equation na siya, so applicable na dito yung factoring method or factoring of quadratic equation, which is our lesson from the past lessons natin na natapos pa lang. So we are going to factor out the trinomial x squared minus 3x minus 18. So this is not a perfect square trinomial, so general trinomial siya. So kailangan nyo muna hanapin yung factor ni 18 para yung then maghanap niyo ng factor, dapat makahanap kayo ng combination of numbers wherein yung magiging result is negative 3. So the answer here, after factoring the trinomial, the answer will be x plus 3 times x minus 6 is equal to 0. If ever, again, na mahirapan kayo sa pag-factoring or nakalimutan nyo, pwede nyo i-review yung video na pinost ko regarding factoring quadratic equations. Or you can just read it in your books. So ito na yung answer. So class, after natin ma-factor out, we are now going to separate x plus 3 and x minus 6. Gagawin natin siya into two linear equations. So mangyayari, magiging x plus 3 is equal to 0 and the other one is x minus 6 is equal to 0. I-solve muna natin yung first linear equation. So x plus 3 is equal to 0. Transpose positive 3 to the right side. It will be x is equals to negative 3. Then the second linear equation, x minus 6 is equals to 0. Transpose negative 6 to the right side, it will become x is equals to positive 6. The value negative 3 and 6 will divide the number line into three regions, A, B, and C. So yan yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina sa last line. Yung dalawang point or dalawang roots of the equation na nakuha natin, siya yung gagamitin natin as the border line para mahati yung number line into three regions na A, B, and C. So next step, make a number line and divide it into three regions, then choose a test point value from each region. So in making your number line class, nakadepende na lang sa inyo kung ano yung discard niyo sa paggawa ng number line. Hindi naman kailangan ng napakahabang number line, kundi magbe-base lang kayo ng number line nyo sa 2 points na nakuha nyo. For example, nakuha lang natin is negative 3 and 6. So yung kahaba ng, pwede kayong gumawa ng number line na 9 by 9, 9 sa positive integers, 9 din sa negative integers, pwede rin 8, 8 sa positive integers, 8 din sa negative integers. So it's up to you class how you're going to make your number line. As long na wag yung super haba, hindi naman kailangan. So here is my number line. Sa number line ko, una kong in-identify si 0. Kasi negative 3 and 6, so si 0 talaga nasa gitna nila. So inuna ko muna si 0 pag-identify. With considering syempre na yung points na kailangan kong i-plot or lagyan ng borderline is negative 3 and 6. So lagi nyo i-put sa consideration yung roots na nakuha nyo. So andyan si 0, then magka-count ako ng 3 papunta sa left. So andyan si negative 3, then 6 papuntang right, andyan si 6. After that, lalagyan nyo siya ng borderline. Then dyan sa borderline class, nahati na natin yung number line into three regions. So region A, B, and C. Again, class, ulitin ko, yung paglagay ng regions is from left to right. So yung A, nasa left side siya or nasa dito siya sa negative side ng number line. Si B, nasa gitna ng dalawang points. And si C, nasa unahan. So next. So ikakopy ulit natin yung number line na nahati na into three regions. So yung next step dito class na gagawin natin based from the last slide, construct a test point table and select a set of values from the three groups. So gagawa kayo ng table. Yung table na gagawin nyo, please follow this format. So the first column is the region. The second column is for the test point value later on na hanapin natin sa number line or magpipili kayo. May freedom kayo sa pagpili later ng test point value. And the third column class, nakadepende siya sa given na quadratic inequality sa ating problem. For example, number 1 kasi yung given na quadratic inequality is x squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. Siya yung ilalagay natin dyan sa third column. And for the fourth column, we have the result. Then ito yung region A, B, and C. And now, let's look for the test point value. So, dito tayo titingin sa ating number line na nahati na into three regions. So, for region A, basta yung pagpili nyo ng point dito sa region A, dapat hindi nyo piliin yung number na nasa borderline. Kasi kung yan yung piliin nyo, hindi nyo mapuprove or hindi nyo makuha yung right answer. So, pwede din kunin nyo lang si negative 4, pwede si negative 5, pwede si negative 6, negative 100, nakadepende. Bas long nasa left side siya ng borderline or nasa region siya ng A. So, yung pinili ko lang dito class para hindi ako masyado mahirapan or pwedeng gayahin nyo yung diskarte ko, pinili ko lang si negative 4. So, one step ahead lang kay negative 3. Then after that class, yung pinili ko naman kay region B, sa kay region B naman class, or yung region na nasa gitna ng dalawang numbers natin, kung available si 0, piliin nyo si 0. Kasi si 0, hindi masyado complicated yung pag-solve. So, yung pinili ko sa B is si 0. Then for region C naman, any numbers na nasa right side dapat ng 6 or ng borderline natin. So, yung pinili ko lang class is 7. Then after that, isosolve na natin siya individually. So, we are going to start with region A para makuha natin yung ilalagay nating information dito sa third column. So, yung ano ba yung gagawin dito? So, ang gagawin nyo class is substitute nyo lang yung test point value na napili nyo sa region A, B, and C sa ating quadratic inequality. So, for region A, for example, sa region A, yung ating x is equals to negative 4. Siya yung ating test point value. Then, yung letters na gagamitin nyo dito, class, nakadepende siya sa given kasi puro x, variable x yung given sa ating quadratic inequality. So, x is equals to negative 4. Kung y yan dyan, or z, or a, b, or c, siya yung letters na ilalagay natin. So, x equals to negative 4. Copy the quadratic inequality. So, x squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. Transpose the value of x. So, it will become negative 4 squared minus 3 times negative 4 minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. Apply the PEMDAS rule. Negative 4 squared, the answer is 16. Negative 3 times negative 4, the answer is positive 12. Copy na minus 18 greater than or equal to 0. Then solve the three remaining numbers. Just simply perform the operation. So 16 plus 12, the answer is 28. 28 minus 18, the answer is 10. So 10 is greater than or equal to 0. So ilagay na natin siya dun sa ating test point table. Then for region B, let x is equal to 0. Copy the quadratic inequality, substitute the values. So 0 squared minus 3 times 0 minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. So 0 squared, the answer is 0. Negative 3 times 0, the answer is 0. Minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. So the answer is negative 18 is greater than or equal to 0. So ilagay na natin ulit siya sa test point table. Then lastly, for region C, we have let x is equals to 7. Copy the quadratic inequality, substitute the value, so 7 squared. The answer is 49. Negative 3 times 7, the answer is negative 21. Copy negative 18 is greater than or equal to 0. 49 minus 21, the answer is 28. 28 minus 18, the result will be 10 is greater than or equal to 0. Then, i-copy ulit natin sa test point table. The next natin na gagawin is to find the result. So, i-check natin kung yung sa column 3 na results na nakuha natin from substituting the test point value dito sa ating quadratic inequality, kung true ba siya or false. So, that true or false will be written dito sa column number 4 sa result. So, for region A, we have 10 is greater than or equal to 0. So, true or false? The answer is true. Negative 18 is greater than or equal to 0. The answer is false. And 10 is greater than or equal to 0. The answer is true. After that, the next step will be, okay, yung ginawa ko dito, kinopy ko muna yung test point table kasi hindi na nga kasya sa last slide. Pero dyan sa kasi sa paper naman kayo magsasolve. So, nakalist naman siya dyan. Again, class, yung last step natin, i-base natin siya dito sa test point table where incomplete na yung information after ng pag-perform ng last steps. So, the next step will be, graph the inequality based on the test point table and the roots. So, una, di ba kanina, nag-solve tayo sa first na yung sa start ng pag-solve natin kay example 1, nakuha natin yung two roots. So, the two roots are x is equals to negative 3 and x is equals to 6. This is our two roots of the given quadratic equation wherein base siya kay quadratic inequality. So, gagawa ulit tayo ng number line. Then, sa number line class, we are going to plot. Kasi kanina, yung negative 3 and 6, gumawa nga tayo ng number line, pero ginawa natin siyang bases as the borderline. For this part class, ipa-plot na talaga natin yung points. So, gagawa na tayo dyan ng points, either a hollow point or a shaded point. Pero what is the rule in using those two types of point? So, take note, we use a hollow point if the inequality being used is greater than or lesser than. Pag greater than or lesser than class, it means hollow point yung ilalagay natin sa ating roots na ipa-plot natin later on sa number line. Next one, we use a shaded point if the inequality being used is greater than or equal and less than or equal. So the reasons bakit hollow yung sa greater than and lesser than, kasi nga hollow siya, it means yung point na kung saan natin linagay yung plinat natin yung point, it means hindi siya included. Kasi nga greater than or lesser than siya. Si shaded point, bakit si shaded point yung gagamitin natin? Kasi equal siya. It means included siya sa solution set. So let's plot the points now. Again, the first point is x equals to negative 3. Dahil then i-check nyo yung quadratic inequality na given sa problem. So yung quadratic inequality dito natin makita sa column 3 or doon mismo sa problem. So x squared minus 3x minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. Dahil greater than or equal yung gamit, it means we are going to use a shaded point. So, i-plot natin yung points. So, sa negative 3, yung point niya is shaded point. The next one is 6. After that, we are now going to graph the inequality. So, paano ba siya i-graph? Dito tayo magbe-base sa result. For region A, the answer is true. Dahil true yung answer, it means ida-darken natin yung side kay region A. It means all the points or all the numbers on that shaded area of region A is part of the solution set. Then, yung middle is false. So, dahil yung middle region B natin is false, yung answer sa result, hindi siya ida-darken or i-shaded na part. So, plain lang siya. Then, for region C, so yung answer dito class is true. Yung result. So, it means yung 6 papunta pa hanggat sa right side, ida-darken natin siya. So, all the numbers that included in the point and to the right side of the point of 6 is part of the solution set. So, hindi pa to yung final answer. Nag-graph pa lang natin siya. So, yung next natin na gagawin is to give the solution set of the inequality. So, paano ba yung pag-base ng solution set? So, dito lang tayo magbe-base sa ating graph. So, the answer here, the solution set of the inequality. So, please follow this format. Nakadepende sa letters na gamit natin dito. Dahil variable x yung gamit, x yung gagamitin dito sa solution set na statement, mathematical statement. So, bracket x such that x, yung pagbasa nitong x, then slash, then x such that x yung pagbasa niyan. X such that x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So, the next one, or x is greater than or equal to 6. So, ito yung ating solution set. Check nga natin kung totoo. X is greater than or equal to negative 3. So, dito daw kay negative 3, yung x daw na greater than or equal kay negative 3, so including si negative 3 and numbers na mas larger kay negative 3 is included sa ating solution set. The next one naman, x greater than or equal to 6. So, lahat ng numbers na mas larger kay 6 is included sa solution set. Wait, may i-recheck lang ako class. Okay, may typographical error lang. So, i-check ulit bago tayo mag-continue. So, the right one here is less than or equal to negative 3. So, sorry for the mistake. Again, class, the solution set of the inequality, for example, number 1 is x such that x is lesser than or equal to negative 3 or x is greater than or equal to 6. So, sorry for the typographical error class, buti na lang na-analyze ko sa graph. Kasi dito class, kung tandaan nyo pa yung rule ng grade 7 kayo, numbers, for example, si negative 3, yung numbers na nasa right side niya, or integers na nasa right side niya are larger than negative 3. Then, pag nasa left side siya, it means lesser number siya. Kaya less than dapat, hindi greater than. So, sorry for the mistake class. Kasi negative 4, okay, negative 4 nga siya. Pero nasa left side siya ng number line or nasa left side siya ni negative 3, it means mas lesser siya kay negative 3. So again, the solution set of the inequality is x such that x is lesser than or equal to negative 3 or x greater than or equal to 6. So this is not yet the final step. Meron pa tayong checking. So, check the answer. So, pag checking class, magpipili lang kayo ng any numbers na andyan sa shaded area ng number line. So, for the first checking class, dito tayo mag-i-start kay region A. So, for region A, yung pinili ko is negative 6. So, copy the quadratic inequality, substitute to negative 6. So, nagiging negative 6 squared minus 3 times negative 6 minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. Then, yung result is 36 plus 18 minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. The answer will be 36 is greater than or equal to 0. So, we have proven that any numbers na nasa left side pa ni negative 3, including negative 3, is part of the solution set of the inequality. And for the region C, the shaded area, yung pinili ko is 8. Substitute the value, then yung result niya is 64 minus 24 minus 18 is greater than or equal to 0. Then 22 is greater than or equal to 0, which is true. So we are 100% sure na all the numbers including 6 na nasa right side ni 6 is part of the solution set. So that's all for the example number 1. So let's try another example. Example number 2. So for example number 2 class, yung ginawa ko dito sa example is yung given na quadratic inequality, kung napansin nyo, yung nasa left side is naka-factor out na. So may mga steps kayo na hindi na kailangan i-perform kasi na-factor out na siya. So yung given, solve y plus 1 times y plus 7 is less than 0. So yung gagawin nyo lang dyan, class, is to copy the problem. Then apply nyo si step 1. Gawin natin siyang quadratic equation. So magiging y plus 1 times y plus 7 is equal to 0. So kung napansin nyo, yung step na nawala is step number 2 ata. Yun yung factoring. So yung gagawin na lang natin is to solve individually the linear equation. So i-separate na natin, y plus 1 is equal to 0. Y plus 7 is equal to 0. So i-solve muna natin yung first linear equation. The answer will be y is equals to negative 1. Then the second linear equation, the answer is y is equals to negative 7. The value negative 1 and negative 7 will divide the number line into 3 regions, A, B, and C. So let's make the number line class and divide it into 3 regions. Then choose a test point value from each region by using the test point table later on the next slide. So ito yung number line natin. So sa number line natin, kung napansin nyo, hindi ko pa na-specify yung values. So yung ginawa ko dito class, dahil nga yung ating roots of the equation is negative 1 and negative 7, yung ginawa ko dito, hindi ko na binigyan ng maraming space papunta sa right side. Nag-focus ako pa left side kasi sa left side lang naman natin makukuha yung roots of the equation na negative 1 and negative 7. Siyempre, una na ko na-identify si 0. After identifying 0, next ko na identify si negative 1, then negative 7. After that, after identifying negative 1 and negative 7, let's put the border line. So, nahati na sa region A, B, and C. So, yung terms na nasa left side na negative 7 is region A. The terms inside negative 7 and negative 1 is region B. And the terms on the right side of negative 1 is region C. Then, let's continue. So, copy the number line na na-divide na. So, construct a test point table and select a set of values from the 3 regions. So, the same format ng ating test point table. After the test point table, lagay na natin yung regions A, B, and C. Then, let's choose a test point value. For region A, yung pinili ko class is negative 8. For region B, yung pinili ko dahil sa region B, sabi ko nga diba sa inyo, pag available si 0, kung sakali, nakadepende ka siya sa paghati or sa placing ng borderline, depende sa roots. So, for region B, yung pinili ko is negative 4. Then, for region C, dahil sa region C, available si 0 yung pinili ko. After that, let's now solve for the column number 3. So again, for column number 3, kung napansin nyo, sinabihan ko na kayo earlier na yung ilalagay natin na quadratic inequality for column 3 is nakadepende sa given sa problem. So yung given ngayon is y plus 1 times y plus 7 is less than 0. So siya yung ating diyang ipi-place. So let's start solving for region A. Let x equals to negative 8. Copy the quadratic inequality, substitute the values. So negative 8 plus 1 times negative 8 plus 7 is less than 0. So, negative 8 plus 1, the answer is negative 7. Negative 8 plus 7, the answer is negative 1. So, negative 7 times negative 1, the answer is 7 is less than 0. So, i-place na natin siya sa test point table. Then, for region B, let x is equals to negative 4. Copy the quadratic inequality, substitute the value. So, negative 4 plus 1 times negative 4 plus 7 is less than 0. Negative 4 plus 1, the answer is negative 3. Negative 4 plus 7, the answer is positive 3. So negative 3 times positive 3, the answer is negative 9. So negative 9 is less than 0. So ilagay na natin siya sa ating test point table. Then for region C, we have let x equals to 0. Copy the quadratic inequality, substitute the value. So 0 plus 1 times 0 plus 7 is less than 0. 0 plus 1, the answer is 1. 0 plus 7, the answer is 7. 1 times 7, so 7 is less than 0. So then nilagay sa test point table. The next step is to find the result. So for region A, our answer sa column 3 is 7 is less than 0. The question is it true or false? So the answer is false. Then for the region B, you have negative 9 is less than 0. The answer is true. And for region C, 7 is less than 0. The answer is false. So sa region B lang tayo nag-true. So the next step, i-copy natin si test point table again. Again, sa paper nyo, hindi nyo na kailangan i-repeat yung pag-copy kay test point table kasi may kita nyo naman siya agad dito sa representation. For the sake of the explaining the next part of the steps, kailangan ko siyang i-copy. Kasi hindi naman pwede na balikan ko ulit yung slide. So, magiging medyo magulo yung discussion. So, kinopy ko siya. Then, the next step is to graph the inequality based from the test point table. So, again, kunin natin yung roots of the equation na solve natin kanina. Y is equals to negative 1 and y is equals to negative 7. Then, after that, gagawa ulit tayo ng number line. Then sa number line class, we're now going to plot the roots of the equation which is negative 1 and negative 7. The question is, ano ba yung gagamitin natin? Hollow point ba or shaded point? So for this case class, yung ating quadratic inequality na ginamit is lesser than. So it means yung gagamitin natin is a hollow point. So for negative 1, lalagay tayo ng negative 7, hollow point. Then for negative 1, a hollow point. It means less negative 1 and negative 7 is just a borderline, pero sa solution set, hindi sila included. Kasi lesser than 0, so hindi sila sabay sa solution set. Then now let's find the shaded region. Dito tayo magbe-base again sa test point table. For region A, the result is false. So it means hindi siya i-shade. For region B, the answer is true. So i-shade natin yung gitna ng hollow point ng negative 7 and negative 1. Then for the region C, the answer is false. So hindi siya shaded area. It means yung shaded area lang is yung region B. So andyan lang yung solution set. Now we are now going to find the mathematical statement for our solution set. So the answer will be the solution set of the quadratic inequality is x such that x is greater than negative 7 but less than negative 1. So this is our answer. So for this case class, you can write this in a different manner. So pwede nyo siyang gawin ganitong format. Kasi yung ganitong format ng mathematical statement, there are students na nahihirapan. Basta tandaan nyo dito class, yung statement, yung x, ipi-place natin sa pinakagitna. Then una natin check yung condition sa left side. So dito tayo magbe-base, titingnan nyo yung graph nyo. Pag ganito yung case, then check nyo si negative 7. So yung solution set ba nasa gitna? So mas larger ba siya or lesser ba siya kay negative 7? So for this case class, dahil greater siya, kasi lahat ng solution set na included shaded area is nasa right side niya, so greater than. Then dito naman, kasi yung pagbasa dito class, mag-start kayo sa gitna. Then for right side naman, yung lahat ng solution set sa shaded area ba, lesser ba siya or greater than negative 1? The answer is lesser. Pero nakadepende siya class kasi lesser and greater lang yung pinagpipilian ko dito kasi hollow point yung ginamit, hindi shaded point. So, pwede nyo i-change ito yung form. So, magiging x such that x is greater than negative 7 and x is lesser than negative 1. So, yung gagamitin nyo class na word, unlike nung sa first kanina, or yung ginamit. It means any of the condition yung pwedeng ma-meet. Pero for this one, class end siya. Bakit ba siya end? Kasi class yung condition, dapat ma-meet niyo yung dalawang condition para ma-consider siya as solution set. Dapat siya greater than negative 7 pero lesser than negative 1 which is shown sa ating graph. Yan yung pag-write class pag-write ng solution. So, mas madali dito yung ganitong format. Just be careful ha sa pag-place ng lesser than or equal or greater than or equal. So ano ba yung next? Wait lang class. Okay, let's perform the checking. So erase ko muna yung mga inks. So for the checking class, again, nasa gitna, yung solution set natin class is nasa region B. It means in between siya ng -7 and -1, which is the root of the quadratic equation. So yung case dito sa pag-checking, pipili lang kayo ng isa kasi isa lang naman yung shaded region. So yung pinili ko class is -6, then kinopy ko yung original quadratic inequality, then substitute natin si -6, so -6 plus 1 and -6 plus 7. The answer is -5 times 1, so -5 is less than 0. So we are now 100% accurate that our answers are correct. Ito nga pala, dito nga sa presentation ko pala, nag-try pa ako another number. So, basta pwede class, pag ganyan yung case na isa lang yung shaded area, pili lang kayo ng isang example. Pero dito nag-try pa ako another one, so true din yung answer niya. So, let's try another example. For example number 3. So, example number 3 class here is the problem. Solve 2t squared minus 5t is lesser than or equal to 7. So, copy the problem. Then, kung napansin nyo class dito yung case, 2t squared minus 5t is lesser than or equal to 7, hindi pa siya proper na quadratic inequality. So, una natin gagawin is to change this quadratic inequality into its proper form. Yung form na binigay ko kanina na ax squared plus bx plus c is lesser than or equal, greater than or equal, less than or greater than to 0. Dapat yung nasa right side class is 0 lang. So, yung gagawin natin dito, i-copy natin yung problem. Then, yung 7 dito sa right side, ita-transpose natin papuntang left side kasi dapat nga 0 lang yung remaining term sa right side. So, yung 7, ita-transpose natin pa left side. So, it will become -7. So, the result is 2t squared minus 5t minus 7 is less than or equal to 0. Then, let's apply the first step, write as a quadratic equation. So, 2t squared minus 5t minus 7 is equal to 0. Then, solve. So, ang another condition here guys, dapat yung ax squared natin, yung a natin should be equal to 1. So, para ma-simplify siya, dapat yung remaining term lang dyan class is t squared sa first term. So, i-divide natin yung whole equation by 2. So, 2t squared divided by 2 minus 5t divided by 2 minus 7 divided by 2. So, the answer is t squared minus 5t over 2 minus 7 over 2 is equal to 0. After that, we are now going to factor the general trinomial kasi hindi pa siya perfect square. So, dahil hindi siya perfect square trinomial, i-factor na lang natin siya as a general trinomial. The answer is t minus 7 over 2 times t plus 1 is equal to 0. Then after that, i-separate natin siya into two linear equation. The same method ng sa example 1 and 2. Hindi ko na-explain ulit. So, t minus 7 over 2 is equal to 0. Transpose -7 over 2 to the right side of the equal sign. So, t is equals to +7 over 2. Or pwede natin i-simplify. Or 3 and 1/2. Then for the next equation, t plus 1 is equal to 0. Just simply transpose +1 to the right side. So, t is equals to -1. The values -1 and 7 over 2 or 3 and 1/2 will divide the number line into 3 regions. So let's make a number line and divide it into 3 regions, then choose a task point value from each region. So ito yung number line ko. Then, in-identify ko muna si 0 by considering again the 2 points or the 2 roots. So yung 2 roots natin is -1 and 3 and 1/2 or 7 over 2. So una si 0, then hinanap ko muna si 3 and 1/2. So to identify 3 and 1/2, mag-move na kayo ng 1, 2, 3, then identify the middle part of 3 and 4. Doon natin mahanap si 3 and 1/2. So dito siya dito. Dito siya naka-place. 7 over 2. Then find -1. So dito si -1. After that, let's place the border lines. Pag-place ng border lines, meron tayong region A. So region A, nasa left side yung -1. Si region B, in between is 7 over 2 and -1. Region C is nasa right side na 7 over 2. Let's continue. So, ito yung number line natin na nahati into 3 regions. Now, we are going to construct again the test point table. So, the same format. Yung mag-iiba lang yung column 3. So yung given natin na quadratic inequality, the original quadratic inequality is 2t squared minus 5t is lesser than or equal to 7. So region A, B, and C. Now let's find our test point value. For region A, yung pinili ko is negative 2. For region B, available nga ulit si 0. So si 0 yung pinili ko. For region C naman is 5. Then, let's start solving for region A. T is equals to negative 2. Copy the original quadratic inequality which can be taken from the given problem. Substitute the value of t. So, 2 times negative 2 squared minus 5 times negative 2 is lesser than or equal to 7. So, 2 times negative 2 squared, unahin i-apply natin ulit yung time dash rule. So, yung exponent muna. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2, the answer is 8. Negative 5 times negative 2, the answer is 10. So, plus 10, then i-copy si plus 10. So, 8 plus 10, the answer is 18, is lesser than or equal to 7. So, i-copy sa test point table. Next one, for region B, t is equals to 0. Copy the quadratic inequality. Then, dito ginawa ko, sinubstitute ko agad. So, 2 times 0 squared minus 5 times 0 lesser than or equal to 7. 2 times 0 minus 0 is lesser than or equals to 7. So, 0 is lesser than or equal to 7. So, i-copy sa test point table. For region C naman, t is equals to 5. Copy the original quadratic inequality. Substitute the value of 5. Not na yung value natin ng t. So, 2 times 5 squared minus 5 times 5 is lesser than or equal to 7. So, 2 times 5 squared. 5 squared is equals to 25. So, 2 times 25 minus 25. Kasi negative 5 times 5. Then 2 times 25, the answer is 50. 50 minus 25, the answer is 25. Is lesser than or equal to 7. Then copy sa test point table. Now, let's find the result. Kung true ba siya or false, each region. For region A, 18 is lesser than or equal to 7. The answer is false. For region B, 0 is lesser than or equal to 7. The answer is true. And for region C, 25 is lesser than or equal to 7. The answer is false. Then after that, let's copy the test point table, then graph the inequality based from the test point table. Pero una, kunin muna natin yung roots of the quadratic equation na nakuha natin, which is t is equals to 7 over 2 or 3 and 1 half, and t is equals to negative 1. Then make the number line, the same format ng sa number line nyo lang kanina. So 0, negative 1, and 7 over 2. The question is, ano ba yung gagamitin nating point? It is a hollow point or a shaded point. So let's go back to the original quadratic inequality. So 2t squared minus 5t is lesser than or equal to 7. So yung ginamit is lesser than or equal. It means yung gagamitin natin is a shaded point. So let's place a shaded point on the roots of the quadratic equation. So 7 over 2 or 3 and 1 half and negative 1. The next one, mag-shade na tayo ng region. For region A class, nasa left side ni negative 1, the answer is false, so hindi siya shade. For region B, the answer is true, so i-shade natin yung gitna. And for region C, the answer is false, so hindi siya shade. Then after natin mag-graph, tapos na tayo mag-graph based na binis natin sa test point table, let's now make the solution set, the mathematical statement. So the solution set of the inequality is x, such that x is greater than negative 1, but less than 7 over 2. So that is our final answer, pero mag-checking tayo. Dahil nga nasa gitna lang siya, let's choose just 1 point. Dahil available si 0, bakit 0 yung pinili ko? Ginamit na pala natin kanina. Let's try 1. So, hindi ko lang pala siya na-edit. So, ang answer, ang tama dito class, so i-edit ko na lang dito mismo. If x, yung pinili ko for checking, the test point value is 1. If x is equals to 1, so copy the original quadratic inequality, substitute the value of 1. So 2 times 1 squared minus 5 times 1 is lesser than or equal to 0, up to 7. 2 times 1 squared, 1 squared, the answer is 1. 2 times 1 minus 5 is lesser than or equal to 7. So 2 minus 5 is lesser than or equal to 7. So negative 3 is lesser than or equal to 7, which is true. So, we are na 100% sure na yung pinagdaanan nating step-by-step process is tama yung answer na nakuha natin. So, let's continue. So, let's remember. Here are the suggested steps in solving quadratic equations. So, ulitin ko lang. Step 1, write the corresponding quadratic equation of the given quadratic inequality. Step 2, factor the polynomial. For the case of step number 2, there are times na katulad ng ka-example 2 na yung polynomial natin is already factored out. So, swerte kayo pag may given na naka-factor out na, hindi na kayo magfa-factor yung step 2. Step 3, determine the values of the variable in the equation. Step 4, divide the number line into 3 regions with the help of the roots of the quadratic equation na pinactor out natin kanina. Then step 5, construct a test point table and select a set of values from the 3 regions which is based kay step number 4. Then step 6, graph the inequality. Magdidepende tayo sa test point table kung ano yung result sa each region. Kung true ba or false. Pag true, shaded. Pag false, walang shade yung area ng number line. Then, pag greater than or lesser than, yung gagamitin natin is a hollow point pa sa pag-plot. Pero pag greater than or equal or lesser than or equal, gagamit tayo ng shaded point for plotting the point. Then, step 7, give the solution set of the inequality wherein i-base nyo yung mathematical statement sa ating graph. So, kay step number 6. Then, for step number 8, check the answer. So, let's verify our answer para sure tayo na yung answer na nakuha natin is the right answer. Para confident tayo sa answers natin. Now, here is the list of the activities you need to answer. So, answer, let's practice A on page 187. Answer even numbers only. Again, you are going to answer even numbers only. So, ano yung even numbers? So, even numbers are numbers that are divisible by 2. So, it means yung sasagutan nyo lang is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So, this is the end of lesson number 5. So, thank you for listening and sorry for the delay of the video lesson for this week. So, break a leg class in answering your activities. That's all, and again, thank you.